The San Francisco 49ers ended up coming back in the second half against the Detroit Lions. They ended up beating them 34-31, but this game was really a game of two separate halves. In the first half, the Lions scored a ton of points. In the second half, the 49ers scored a ton of points. But in my opinion, the difference in this game was the 49ers front seven really got after it. Guys like Fred Warner and Eric Armstead and Nick Bosa and Chase Young, Javon Hargrave, all of these guys made a bunch of really nice plays, and today we're going to analyze the tape. I'm very excited for it. One of the things I want to point out really quickly is in the first 25 minutes of this game, the Lions averaged well over 8 yards per attempt. But after the first 25 minutes of this game, the Lions averaged less than 4 yards per attempt. That was kind of the difference in this game, in my opinion. I'm very excited to kind of analyze the tape. Let's just get right into it. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and get into the 42-yard run that Jameson Williams had that went to the house. I actually got some comments on Twitter asking me what I thought about this play. It's a very interesting play because although the play would have probably picked up at least 15 yards had the 49ers just tackled on the defensive side, the play could have been stopped. The tackle should have been made right there. You had a couple of guys that could have possibly made the tackle. And honestly, I think there's a couple of issues with this play. So first and foremost, great job by the corner here to box this in, force the cutback in here. That's exactly how you want to play this. And from there, you have three guys here that are basically pursuing this play. And one of these three should be able to make the play. You know, you got containment basically on every single side of this play. There's no reason why this play should have worked beyond 10 or 15 yards. But what ends up happening is Thomas here is going to end up playing this too far over the top. To me, he should have came underneath this, which would have allowed the safety here to play over the top. So what ends up happening is Williams is going to end up cutting this to the left. And you see the cornerback's not able to flip the hips and make the tackle. So right away, that's going to be the big issue within this play. Sure, the linebacker could have possibly made the tackle, but the linebacker wasn't able to bring him down. I don't think it's his responsibility specifically to have made this play. I think in the secondary, you know, if you're coming from the backside or you're the safety, it is your responsibility. Anything past 10 or 12 yards, you got to be able to wrap up and make the play. And on this one here, you see that the corner is not able to make it. The safety is not able to make the tackle. Not a big deal, but I did want to just point it out. My thoughts on this play. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. Check this out. Eric Armstead's going to beat the right guard on this one. And he's going to get almost instant pressure on the quarterback. Forces the quarterback off his spot. This was 2nd and 12. And this one here basically was an incomplete pass because of that pressure by Armstead. One of the things I really like with Armstead is he has very good pass rush technique. Right hand swat, left arm over the top. That's the perfect way to win at the point of attack. And you're basically getting instant pressure, forces the quarterback off the spot. It's a really nice job. Let's get into the next snap. One of the guys that really stuck out to me on tape was Fred Warner. The guy was getting after it, play in, play out. He was jumping gaps. He was getting after the running back. He made a lot of really nice plays after, I would say, the first quarter and a half or so. He did this here where this basically ruined the entire drive for the Lions, right? This one right here lost 5 yards. Just a beautiful job going underneath the block. The Lions are going to try to run a zone run to the left. And you'll see Penei Sewell is basically going to take those steps the same way. And Fred Warner just ends up going underneath it. It's a great job right there by the linebacker to basically avoid the block by the all-pro right tackle. Goes underneath it, gets into the backfield. And this one lost 5 yards. So it's a really nice job by the linebacker. You got another one right here. Watch him step up into the gap, fill his run fit, and stop this play for just a gain of about 2 yards. Once again, really nice job by Warner to attack. And I think one of the interesting things with the Lions is this offensive line is probably a top 3 offensive line. And in the Super Bowl, the 49ers will be playing once again another top 3 offensive line. That is the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I do think the Lions are a little bit different than the Chiefs, but I do expect Warner to, if he's able to kind of do this and really control the run game, I do think it will ultimately give the 49ers the best chance to succeed. In the second half, there were so many plays like this where Warner just continuously got after it. He continuously made the play. And it wasn't just him. You know, all of the guys across the board kind of did their jobs. On this one here, Chase Young does a great job being able to take on Penei Sewell, hold his ground, and then he gets off the block. And this one actually lost 2 yards. So again, great job by Young. He's going to make really nice contact here with Sewell. He's going to stay low. He's going to get off the block. And when the running back tries to bounce this to the outside, he's right there to blow the play up. right? So it was really a team effort that allowed the 49ers to have success in the second half, stopping the run. And it was definitely a big part as to why they ultimately won this game. This was a 3rd and 1. Watch Fred Warner again, man. Look at him just read this perfectly. Understands kind of what the Lions are trying to do on this 3rd and 1 play. Jumps the gap and blows it up. To me, beautiful, beautiful job by Fred Warner. But against the pass, I felt like some of these other defense linemen had really, really good games. And I want to just kind of get into that here. You got a 4th and 2 on this one. The score was 24-10 at this point. I think this was one of the big plays of this game. You're going to see the Detroit Lions are going to go for it. And Nick Bosa is going to generate a little bit of pressure. Bosa does a great job against top 10 or 12 left tackle in the NFL. That is Taylor Decker. You'll see the wide receiver is not able to bring it down. But if you guys keep an eye on Bosa, as he gets out of his stance, he's going to double hand swipe. And that double hand swipe is going to work. And that right there pressures the quarterback. You know, the quarterback taking these steps does make a difference. Because now the quarterback, as he gets over to the left here, the internal clock has sped up that, hey, I already stepped over here to the left. I'm going to go down unless I get the ball out. So that's a great job right there by Nick Bosa to generate pressure. Of course, the receiver's not able to bring it down. This one resulted in a turnover on down. So that's a great job right there by Nick Bosa. Now, in yesterday's game, Bosa ended up having 8 total pressures. He did have 2 sacks. This is a really nice pressure that he's going to get. He's basically going to get a hit on the quarterback. This is an incomplete pass, 2nd and 9. And you see Nick Bosa going up against Penei Sewell, arguably the best right tackle in the NFL. And once again, Bosa's going to just beat this guy. He's going to do a great job with the hands. And that right there allows him to get around Bosa. He turns the corner. And with that, he pressures the quarterback and he actually gets a hit on the quarterback. So that's a really, really nice job right there by Bosa. Let's go ahead and get into the next snap. Now, in the second half, the Lions obviously did not have success running the football. And I think that was a big factor as to why they ultimately lost this game. Because when they weren't able to run the football, the Lions had to rely on Jared Goff. And there are plays like this where Goff was not able to connect with his wide receivers. On this one here, Chase Young does a great job going up against the left tackle. Straight up just uses the power, bull rushes him. And if you guys watch this in slow motion, you're going to see the quarterback's not going to be able to step into his pass. So with that, when the quarterback's not able to step into his pass, it's a little bit less accurate than what Jared Goff would usually be able to throw the ball. And it's just a little too high for his wide receiver. This is a great job here by Young to fight the tackle, get his hands to the inside of him, push him, really stand him up. And look at the leverage right there that Young has on the left tackle. And the left tackle basically gets pushed right back into the quarterback. And the quarterback can't step up into the pass. And the pass isn't complete. It's a pretty nice job right there. Let's get into the next snap. Check this one out. This is 4th and 3. Hargrave and Armstead are going to run this interior defensive line game. And watch them generate pressure on Jared Goff. This is a really, really nice job here by Hargrave, the way he runs this game. 4th and 3 right here. Another play that ultimately forced a turnover on downs. To me, this is part of why Hargrave comes in. It's because of plays like this. And I know Hargrave may not have had a great season, but he had a really good underrated season. And I think ultimately for the 49ers, these are the type of moves and transactions that allow you to get into the Super Bowl. You're going to see Hargrave do a great job attacking the center here. He's going to make sure as he makes contact with the center is not going to be able to switch on the game. So that's going to put this left guard in conflict. Either he can stick to Hargrave or he can get off Hargrave and pick up Eric Armstead. And it really doesn't matter who he takes. One of these guys is going to get through because of how Hargrave ultimately attacks the center. The center just doesn't see this coming. Hargrave gets the hands to the back. Just a beautiful stunt by Hargrave to be the first guy to kind of go and make that contact. And Goff has to run to the left. And as he throws it running to his left, the pass obviously falls incomplete. So that's a really, really nice job right there. Now, obviously, the 49ers defense had a really, really good day, especially towards the back end of this game. But I do want to give credit just to some individual players. Obviously, we pointed out Nick Bosa a little bit, gave some credit to the defensive tackles. Chase Young also had a pretty good game. I know some people talk about it on social media that, he was lazy or whatever people wanted to say. He did make a couple of nice plays. This one right here was 1st and 10, and he does a great job taking on this tight end, tossing him to the side, shedding the block, and just blowing the play up, right? Chase Young definitely had some really, really good, impactful plays. And they may not have been perfect, but do keep in mind, the Lions' offensive line is a top 3 offensive line. The Lions have 2 of the best tackles in the NFL. And the Chiefs' offensive line is a little bit different in terms of where their strengths come from. The Chiefs' tackles are not as good as the Lions' tackles. But the Chiefs have a great interior offensive line. That's kind of one of the differences between the 2 offensive lines. I think for the 49ers, that's going to allow them to have success more so from Young and Bosa as opposed to the interior guys. Now I want to go ahead and wrap this video up and just kind of highlight Chase Young here. I do think that Bosa and Young did a great job at the end of the game, or towards the second half, I should say, specifically setting the edge. One of the things the Lions love to do is run outside zone, and their outside zones run really rely on the tackles generating a push, right? The point in outside zone run, the way the Lions like to run, is they want to get push. So from the double team here to the defensive end here, they want to try to create as much of a gap as possible. So this tackle needs to move Young and try to possibly push him out of there. One of the things the Niners did a really good job at is Young and Bosa ended up holding their gaps, really holding their ground. And that made sure the gap did not widen as much, which allowed these linebackers to kind of fail and stop plays from picking up the amount of yards it was ultimately picking up in the beginning of the game. Right? So to me, really, really good job by those guys to be able to really hold their own. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you guys learned something. And if you did, please consider subscribing. We will be covering the San Francisco 49ers for the rest of this season. Obviously, there's one game left, and as well as going into next season. So subscribe if you guys are not subscribed, and I will see you guys next time with another video.